had a tough game from the standpoint you're good in all three zones. You're playing well. You're good on your special teams, but it just seemed like you weren't good around the net. That was the only place that looked like it. Just you guys couldn't convert. You were skating by the net with chances. Was that tough to watch when you're playing so well?
You just want your guys to stay on it and stay with it. You know, it's not. It's you don't want them to be frustrated at all. Just keep pushing, push. I mean, you only need one goal. You don't need six. So just stay on it. I thought they did. I thought a credit to, their goaltender was real good, and they were good, defensively. It was they kind of anchored down a bit there, and it was a little tougher than it may have looked as well. But yeah, you definitely want your guys to score when you see effort like that, and you see them making plays, and but you just got to stay on it. You just can't get frustrated, and that's what we talked about after the second. No frustration, play.
Don, we had Cody Eakin in here a few minutes ago. He said that this team is becoming annoying to play against, and that's a very good thing, I'm sure, to you as a coach. What does it mean, just the way they've shown how difficult they've become to play in these two games? We didn't see that much the last week.
Well, it's nice to start at home. It's nice to have a crowd that we had engaged the way it was, and a lot of energy in the building. Like I said the other day, I thought our players again today fed off of the energy and excitement in the building, and that pushed us through with good momentum. So it certainly is a good start through two games, and I love the fact that Cody said that. If you can play and play hard, as what you said, then that's a good characteristic to have. And if the guys embrace that, I'm all for it.
How'd you like? What did you think about the way that Darlene stepped in with different defense partner playing someone who's offside?
Yeah, both he and Will Butcher kind of traded. They were both comfortable there. They both played a little bit of that in the past, and again, they were just read and react, fill. If that side needed to be filled, they did it, and they showed a lot of confidence in it, made some nice plays. So I was very happy with that, because that's a little bit of an unknown. Obviously, it's a big difference when you shift to the offside for a defenseman. So I thought they did great today with it.
Also encouraging the growth that you've seen from him just in the D zone. I mean, from before you took over as coach, to now, he looks a lot more like the player that everybody knows he can be.
Yeah, he has lots of hockey sense, and people, when you think of hockey sense, you think of offense, but it's defensive as well. It's might even be more so. Reading situations, anticipating when to jump, when to pick something off, how hard to play something, or which guy to play harder. And he has really good instincts there. Obviously, he's still evolving that with at this level, being as young as he is. But he showed very good signs in the first couple games.
You've only given up the 2 goals. So how much of that is good defensive play, and how much of that is you spent a lot of time in the offensive zone in both games? Where you've had the puck and you've been moving around and had good forechecks. How much of it is?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination. I mean, the more you have the puck and can put pucks in the right area, and which makes it harder for teams to come back quicker and counter quicker against you, the better. So we did make more right decisions in those areas, which helped us limit how much defense we had to play, and then we had layers of defense, which was nice, as I've mentioned. So those were good signs, and we helped out our goaltenders for the most part, and when we didn't, they were there for us the first 2 years. So.
For obvious reasons, in recent years, every time this team went to overtime, you would see Jack Eichel and Sam Reinhart. So I was waiting to see your first overtime, what was going to happen. You ran through Gergensons and Okposo and Skinner and Olofsson. And what did you think of just about the way you guys dominated that with different players in that kind of role?
I've said it many, many times, we're an evolving team. I cannot find it in my being right now to say this guy's better than that guy. There's just too much. The ceiling's too high for too many guys. And I do not want to separate guys that this guy can't play this situation because you're not good enough. I won't believe that in our locker room. And they all have to, they're all evolving players, and they need to evolve through those situations, even if they make a mistake. We're doing it because it's valuable. It's too valuable of an opportunity to develop more players right now than less, and I thought they did great with it. And so much of this game too, Mike, to further is fresh guys. Just statistically, fresh players are better than skilled players that are tired. So a lot of that ties into it.
Thompson has been very effective. They were just dominant today. Just what's gone into their success so far?
Aspie and Victor played together in Rochester. Obviously, they've had a long friendship, and they just embrace it. You know, they have had time to, you know, feed off of each other, and Tomer's a nice complement to that. Obviously, he can hang on the pucks, extend possession. So, you know, it just they found a rhythm the first couple of nights here, and they, you know, Victor looked great to me. You know, better than he did in preseason at any point. I was concerned with him in preseason that he was taking a little bit longer to get to his game, but the other night and tonight he really looked like himself.
It's interesting. I mean, you throw guys in the deep end. It just seems like an example. I noticed Thompson took that late faceoff. You know,
Yeah.
And well, he's a guy that hasn't taken too many faceoffs in his career, but you just throw him in the deep end, don't you? Let him figure it out.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not in the playoffs right now, so if it's Game 7 in a playoff series, you're thinking probably something different. As far as, but all our guys need experience. They need situations, and it's the only way they're going to learn. You know, you don't learn to swim and not get wet. So, you know, we gotta put them in these situations, and with the confidence as a coaching staff that they're going to be able to adjust and adapt to it.
You make a waiver claim, and it certainly adds to organizational depth, but how much of that could be, you know, Henry's injury status? Is he worse than you guys initially feared, or where does he stand?
Yeah, you know, I mentioned yesterday that it's going to be a couple weeks. It looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than a couple weeks, so, you know, I'm sure that was a factor. You know, I was informed of that just before the game that we were going to make that claim, so we haven't talked about it a lot, but I would assume that was a factor. You know, that was a late deal. Obviously, we were getting from the coaching side, getting ready for the game, but yeah, we're going to miss Henry for a little bit longer than 2 weeks.
To go back to what you said about having fresh legs, the speed, the conditioning that we saw in training camp and the preseason, how did you see that shine through when your guys had to play more than 60 minutes?
Paul mentioned too, just playing efficient is a big part of being able to play with speed longer, and you know, that's the combination of it. But and then digging down, like I said, I think the emotions in the building helped our guys dig down and even through a little fatigue and fight a little harder with some adrenaline kicking in. So I think all of those were factors, but it was nice to see our guys. I mean, they were exhausted at the end of a shift. You could see on the bench, and again, I gauging on the bench. A lot of times you look who's up. Again, you're looking at, okay, who's fresher right now, who's still recovering from the last shift. And I felt comfortable with the 12 forwards and all 60 we had to manage it that way through the game.